Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking on a really critical journey for anyone out there running a WordPress development agency. We're talking about a fundamental shift, really. It's about moving away from that exhausting day-to-day project survival mode and stepping confidently into what we call sustainable scaling mode. Because, let's be real, running an agency is one thing, but building an empire that's still thriving a decade from now, yeah, that takes a highly dedicated roadmap.
Okay, just think about this number for a second. 43%. WordPress now powers over 43% of all websites globally. Just let the sheer scale of that sink in. That massive dominance creates this almost unprecedented opportunity for your agency. But of course, it brings intense competition right along with it. You aren't just competing with the agency down the street anymore, you're literally playing in a global arena now.
So first up, we have to tackle the short-term trap and figure out how to escape that relentless day-to-day grind.
Look, without a long-term plan, your growth is purely reactive. It's basically like running on a hamster wheel that's somehow also on fire. You're just constantly chasing those short-term wins, which leaves your agency incredibly vulnerable to sudden market shifts or totally unpredictable client demand. On the flip side, intentional agencies, they're actively building these sustainable fortresses around their talent and technology.
All right, let's get into the 5-part playbook. This is going to be your roadmap to sustainable success.
So we've got 5 interconnected steps here that work together to build a truly resilient business model. And remember, none of these operate in a vacuum. By diversifying your offerings, investing in scalable talent, creating recurring revenue, properly documenting your processes, and building strategic partnerships, you systematically bulletproof your agency against all that unpredictable demand.
Let's break these down, starting with tip number 1. Diversify your service offerings early. Honestly, relying on a single service like purely custom development is just a massive risk. If demand shifts or a particular type of project dries up, you're left stranded. You absolutely have to broaden your menu way before a market downturn forces those painful changes on you.
The good news? You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just expand into related offerings like maintenance, page builder development, or ongoing website optimization. By doing this early on, your revenue remains super steady even if custom project work temporarily slows down. You're basically building financial shock absorbers straight into your business.
Moving right along to scaling with strategic partnerships, which is all about managing your talent and capacity.
The secret sauce here is truly scalable talent. Think about it. Hiring every single developer full-time severely limits your flexibility. But by utilizing a dedicated white-label partner, like Viral Chili, for example, who specialize in behind-the-scenes WordPress development and SEO, you can seamlessly handle those incredibly busy periods. And then you can just scale back during the slower months without the financial burden or the absolute stress of disrupting your core permanent team.
But here's the catch, and this brings us to tip 5. You must build these strategic partnerships before you actually need them. If you wait until you're completely drowning in projects to reach out to a partner like Viral Chili, you are going to be scrambling at a severe disadvantage. Get those relationships established early so you can secure better pricing, priority turnarounds, and a really deep shared understanding of your agency's unique standards.
Okay, next section, creating predictable income to stabilize your finances.
Prioritizing predictable monthly income over those one-time project fees, that is exactly what separates agencies that thrive from the ones that are merely surviving. Project-based work alone makes your revenue incredibly volatile. You know the drill, a fantastic month followed by a terrifyingly quiet one. We need to completely smooth out that roller coaster.
So how do we do that? The secret is building out easy recurring revenue streams. We're talking hosting bundles, ongoing optimization, and actually scratch that, especially maintenance packages. Maintenance is hands down the absolute easiest to launch because let's be honest with ourselves, you're probably already handling informal updates and frantic client support emails anyway, right? Formalizing all of that into a paid monthly service creates vital stability, and it does it with minimal extra overhead.
Next up is documenting for the future so we can finally break the bottleneck.
As your agency grows, any undocumented workflow quickly becomes a severe bottleneck. It's just a fact. You have got to document everything right now. Your development workflows, your client onboarding process, your quality assurance steps. Do this even if your team is tiny today. This documentation is literally the essential bedrock for training new hires, integrating partners smoothly, and maintaining absolute consistency across the board.
Knowledge trapped in one person's head cannot scale. Wow. Take that in as a stark warning.
If you wait until your team grows to start writing things down, capturing that institutional knowledge becomes almost impossible. Relying entirely on your own memory, or maybe your lead developer's memory, just creates these massive, totally avoidable bottlenecks that will absolutely stall your growth.
Finally, let's look at maintenance and scaling. It's time to put the plan into action.
You need to evaluate this whole playbook systematically. Most of the highly successful agencies out there do a deep dive review of their long-term plan yearly, and they pair that with smaller quarterly check-ins. Finding this rhythm allows you to pivot around new competition and shifting client demands without ever losing sight of those big, multi-year growth goals.
So, I want to leave you with this. How often do you actually revisit your long-term plan? Because long-term success in the WordPress space doesn't just happen by accident, you know? It belongs to the agencies that actively plan for it. So do me a favor. Pull up your calendar right now. Literally, right now. Block out some time today to review your strategy. Implement these 5 tips and take back control of your agency's future. Thanks so much for joining me in this explainer, and I seriously cannot wait to see what you build.